Discipline is the foundation of every success you will ever achieve. It's the driving force behind every great accomplishment. But it's also the hardest thing to build and maintain. So how do you push through the resistance, the distractions, and the laziness that try to stop you? How do you build the kind of discipline that doesn't just fade after a few days? In this video, I'm going to show you how to force yourself to build unstoppable discipline. We'll dive deep into why most people give up and what you can do to stay on track, no matter how tough it gets. By the end, you'll have the tools and mindset to turn discipline into a habit that feels natural, helping you achieve things you never thought possible. Stay with me and get ready to change your approach to success forever. Number 1, force yourself to show up every single hard day. You wake up and your body doesn't want to move. Your eyes are open, but your mind is bargaining. It says 5 more minutes. It says you can skip this one. It says nobody will know, but you will know. That's the beginning of the war. Not out there in the world, in here, inside your own decisions. That's the moment you either build your discipline or you break your promise to yourself. Discipline doesn't start when you feel good. It starts when you don't, when you're tired, when you're frustrated, when nothing's working the way you want it to. That's when discipline becomes real. That's when it counts. Anybody can move when it's easy. Anybody can do the right thing when it's comfortable. But that's not who you want to be. That's not the person who earns results. That's not the person who becomes proud of who they are. You have to force yourself to show up every single hard day. That's how strength is built. Not in a moment, not in one win, but in every moment you refuse to quit. That's where the roots of self-respect grow. That's where confidence comes from. Confidence doesn't come from saying you'll do something. It comes from doing it. Especially when it's hard, especially when no one's watching, especially when the easier option is right there in front of you. You build strong discipline when your emotions scream for comfort and you still stand up and get to work. That kind of discipline doesn't come from talent. It doesn't come from luck. It comes from pressure, from pain, from pushing through the exact moment your mind says stop. That's the edge. That's where most people break. That's where you push. Every time you do what's uncomfortable on purpose, you take back your power. Because the truth is, life will test you. It won't ask you if you're ready. It won't ask how you feel. It won't wait for you to be in the mood. And if you keep waiting to feel ready, you'll keep getting left behind. But if you train yourself to move anyway, to get up when it hurts, to show up when your mind says hide, you start becoming unstoppable. You don't need motivation every day. You need decisions. Clear, firm, no excuse decisions. Discipline isn't about feeling good. It's about doing what matters. And most people don't do it because it's uncomfortable, because it's lonely, because it doesn't reward you right away. But that's exactly why it's worth it. It's exactly why you become proud of yourself when you keep going. Start telling yourself the truth. If you skip the hard days, you're building a habit of quitting. If you only work when it's easy, you're building a life of regret. It doesn't matter what your excuse is. Stress, tiredness, doubt, fear. It's still a choice. You either strengthen your discipline or you reinforce your weakness. People say it's hard. Of course it's hard. That's what makes it valuable. That's what makes it rare. Anybody can talk. Anybody can post a quote. But not everybody shows up when it's cold. Not everybody keeps their promises when nobody's clapping. Not everybody fights for their goals when it gets boring, when it gets painful, when it stops being exciting. That's where winners are separated. You need to develop a new kind of respect for yourself. Not the kind that depends on achievements or applause, but the kind that's built brick by brick through action. The kind that says, I showed up today, even when you didn't want to, even when you didn't feel like it, even when the day gave you every reason to quit. There will always be a voice in your head trying to sell you comfort. But there's also a voice in you that wants more strength, more growth, more life. You have to decide which voice gets to win, because that choice is being made every day. Every time you avoid the hard thing, that weaker voice grows louder. But every time you face it head on, you train your mind to trust you. You train your body to respond when it's time to move. You don't need perfect days. You need consistent ones. Days where you do the work with no shortcuts. Days where you feel weak, but you show up anyway. Days where you're not at your best, but you still give what you have. That's how you build strong discipline. Not through talent or mood, but through sheer repetition. The moment you start choosing hard on purpose, everything begins to change. You stop waiting for life to be easy. You stop looking for the right mood. You start becoming the kind of person who doesn't flinch, who doesn't stall, who doesn't make excuses. You start becoming a person who shows up, no matter what. That's real power. That's real freedom. You've got to stop hiding behind, "I don't feel like it." That phrase is poison. It's what keeps people stuck. If you wait to feel like it, you're giving away your future. Because the truth is, most of the things that change your life don't feel good at first. They're uncomfortable. They're hard. They make you doubt yourself. But if you stick with them, they make you strong. Discipline is the gateway to everything you want. But you have to earn it. You earn it by showing up tired. You earn it by staying consistent when no one's noticing. You earn it by doing the hard thing over and over again until your brain understands that you mean business, until your body responds without question, until you stop needing motivation to move. People are looking for secrets. They're searching for hacks. But I'll tell you the truth. The real secret is this: do it anyway. No matter how you feel, no matter what your excuses are, no matter how far behind you think you are, no matter how much resistance you feel in your chest, show up anyway. That's how you change. That's how you shift your identity. That's how you stop being someone who hopes and starts being someone who delivers. Every time you show up on a hard day, you break a chain. You break the chain of giving up. You break the cycle of procrastination. You break the habit of being a prisoner of your feelings. You start proving to yourself that you're capable. Not because someone told you, not because the world gave you approval, but because you did the work with your own two hands. You faced the pressure and didn't run. You showed up anyway. Don't just chase goals. Chase discipline. Discipline is the root that holds everything together. It doesn't get praise. It doesn't get attention, but it gives you control. It gives you peace. It gives you pride. Real pride. The kind that comes from knowing you've earned the life you're living. So stop telling yourself stories. Stop feeding the lie that you're not ready. Stop looking for the perfect plan. Just move. Stand up. Do the work. Focus on today. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Show up today. And then again tomorrow. And again the next day. That's how you build something real. Start tracking your actions. Look at yourself in the mirror and ask, did I show up today? If the answer is no, don't make an excuse. Fix it. If the answer is yes, repeat it. Discipline isn't something you talk about. It's something you live. Quietly. Repeatedly. Relentlessly. You want change. Build the discipline to show up without needing permission. Without needing praise. Without needing to be in the mood. Do that and your life won't just improve. It will transform. Because when you train yourself to move through pain, to move through doubt, to move through fatigue, you train yourself to win. It's not about how fast you move. It's about how often. It's about how committed you are to showing up. Regardless of the circumstances. The world doesn't care about your potential. It responds to your consistency. It responds to your habits. It responds to your discipline. That's the truth. Most people don't want to face. They want results without routine. They want confidence without effort. They want change without discomfort. But that's not how growth works. Growth demands payment. And the currency is showing up, especially on the hard days. So if today feels heavy, good. That means it's a day worth fighting for. That means today is the kind of day that shapes you, that sharpens you, that tests whether you're serious or just pretending. And if you choose to show up, you've already won. Because most people won't. They'll choose the pillow, the excuse, the delay. But not you. You'll choose the path that hurts now and helps later. You'll choose the work. You'll choose the discomfort. You'll choose to rise. Again and again and again. That's how champions are made. Not by talk. Not by hype. But by repeated action on the days nobody wants to move. The quiet work, the hard days, the unseen effort. That's where the real difference is made. So stand up, breathe deep, face the resistance, and show up. Even now, especially now. That's the decision that builds strong discipline. That's the decision that builds you. Number 2, train your focus by cutting out all distractions. You're not tired. You're just distracted. And every day you stay distracted, you lose more of your life to things that don't matter. If you don't train your focus, the world will train your mind to chase noise. And that's what's killing your discipline. That's what's weakening your drive. That's what's stealing your potential. Distractions are not innocent. They are thieves. They take your time, your clarity, your direction. They turn your priorities into chaos. And they feel so small in the moment. A quick scroll, a short reply, a meaningless update. But stacked together, they eat up your hours. And when your hours are gone, your dreams are gone too. That's the price. We live in a time where distractions are engineered to pull you in. Every sound, every ping, every screen is fighting for your mind. If you don't take control of your attention, someone else will. And if they win your attention, they own your choices. That means your goals, your peace, your future, all of it gets compromised. You can't build strong discipline without focus. You can't stay consistent when your mind is bouncing between 10 different things every 5 minutes. You can't be productive if you're always reacting. Distraction trains your brain to forget what matters. It pulls you away from purpose. And the longer you let it run your life, the harder it becomes to sit still, to think deeply, to move with power. If you want to change your life, cut out the distractions that are keeping you stuck. Start with your phone, the apps that waste your hours, the notifications that don't mean anything, the accounts you follow that drain your energy instead of building it. Audit everything. Ask yourself, is this helping me get better or just helping me avoid my real work? That question alone will wake you up. Your environment matters. If you're surrounded by noise, you will become noisy inside. And when your mind is noisy, you can't see clearly. You can't decide wisely. You can't stay calm under pressure. That's why focus has to be trained. You're not born with it. You build it. You protect it. You feed it with silence. You protect it with limits. Stop telling yourself, you'll get serious tomorrow. That's a trap. You don't need more time. You need fewer distractions. You need fewer lies about why you're not moving forward. And distractions, they are full of lies. They whisper that rest means mindless scrolling, that you need to check just one more thing, that you're still being productive because you're busy. But you know the truth. You're busy avoiding. You're busy numbing. You're busy running away from the thing that would actually change you. Focus requires discipline. And discipline means sacrifice. It means saying no to what feels good now, so you can build something better later. It means turning down the volume of the world so you can finally hear your own thoughts. The deeper ones, the honest ones, the ones that ask, what am I really doing with my life? If you're always distracted, you won't hear that question. And if you don't hear it, you won't grow. You've got to train your focus like a muscle. Every time you say no to a distraction, you build strength. Every time you sit down and finish what you started, you build trust with yourself. Every time you turn off what doesn't serve you, you prove to yourself that your mind is yours, not theirs. Yours. That's a kind of freedom very few people have anymore. The freedom to choose what to think about. The freedom to stay locked in. The freedom to push through without checking out. Most people have given that up. They've handed it to their phones, to the trends, to the habits that keep them average. But you're not most people. If you were, you wouldn't still be here. You wouldn't be listening this far. Deep down, you want more, and you know you're capable of more. Start by getting serious about your time. Look at how you spend your mornings. The first hour of your day sets the tone for everything else. If you start distracted, you stay distracted. Don't start with noise. Don't open yourself to the world before you've grounded yourself in purpose. Start with intention. Start with clarity. Start with a clear reason why you need to lock in. Then look at your routines. Are they helping you focus or pulling you away from what matters? Are you in control of your day or just reacting to everything around you. The difference between people who succeed and people who stay stuck is not just talent. It's not just luck. It's attention. What you pay attention to will shape your reality. If you can't focus, you can't lead. You can't grow. You can't win. Because every achievement requires extended attention. Every breakthrough is born from deep work, from sitting with a problem, from thinking things through, from staying committed to a hard process until something clicks. And distractions destroy that process. They cut your thinking short. They interrupt your progress. They break your rhythm. So you have to become ruthless with what you allow into your space. Not just your physical space, but your mental space. Who are you listening to? What are you watching? What are you thinking about when you're alone? Are you feeding your focus or feeding your fears? Are you creating clarity or just consuming noise? You can't change your life without first changing what you pay attention to. Your focus is the doorway. If that door is always open to everything and everyone, nothing meaningful will ever happen behind it. You've got to shut the door. You've got to protect your time like it's sacred, because it is. Every distraction you cut is a seed planted for your future. This doesn't mean you live like a machine. It means you live with control. You take breaks on purpose, not by accident. You rest with clarity, not by escaping. You choose what enters your life, instead of letting it choose you. Focus gives you power, not just over your work, but over your emotions, over your time, over your self-respect. Because when you can sit down and stay locked in, when you can ignore what doesn't matter and finish what you started, you stop being a slave to the world's demands. You start building on your own terms. Look at the people you admire, the ones who've built something great. They all have one thing in common. They mastered their focus. They weren't the loudest. They weren't the flashiest, but they knew how to say no. They knew how to shut out what didn't help. They knew how to stay with one thing long enough to see it through. That's what you're capable of. But not if you stay distracted. Not if you keep letting other people's urgency become your emergency. Not if you keep letting your mind wander every time things get hard or boring. Discipline is forged in those boring moments. Focus is tested when the work isn't exciting. That's where you earn your edge. So what's the first step? Shut off what's stealing your attention. Not tomorrow, right now. Set boundaries with your time. Turn off the things that are not helping you grow. Say no to inputs that make you feel scattered, anxious, or unmotivated. Put your phone in another room. Close the tabs. Create a space where your mind can breathe, where you can think clearly again. Then start retraining your brain to focus for longer periods. Start small, 15 minutes of pure focus, then 30, then 60. No switching, no checking, no hopping from one thing to the next. Just one clear task and your full attention on it. That's how you build power. Your brain will resist at first. You'll feel discomfort. You'll want to escape. That's normal. That's the cost of rewiring your patterns. Don't run from it. Sit through it. Let your brain learn that you're in charge now. Let your attention grow stronger under pressure. And the more you practice this, the clearer everything becomes. You'll think better. You'll decide faster. You'll waste less energy. You'll feel calm even when things get chaotic around you, because your focus won't be shaken by every small thing anymore. This is the path, and it's not complicated. It's just uncommon, because it requires you to take full responsibility for your attention. Most people won't do that, but you can. You can choose to build a life where your time serves your growth, where your focus builds your future, where your attention becomes your superpower, not your weakness. So train your focus by cutting out all distractions. Not someday, not when it's convenient. Now, because the longer you wait, the harder it gets to break free. Take back control of your attention, and you take back control of your life. That's the truth. And once you experience that level of control, you won't want to go back. You won't want the noise. You won't need the chaos. You'll have something better. You'll have clarity. You'll have power. You'll have peace. And that's when real discipline begins to grow, in silence, in focus, in you. Number 3, wake up early and start with one hard task. If you wake up late, you start the day in debt. And most people never recover from that. You're behind before you've even begun. You're already playing catch up, reacting, scrambling, trying to fix what could have been avoided if you had just started earlier. The world is quieter in the early morning, but most people never hear it because they're still asleep. Not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. They sleep through their purpose. They sleep through their discipline. They sleep through their greatness. If you want a powerful life, you need powerful mornings. You need to wake up before the noise, before the pressure, before the demands. That's where the edge is. That's where you separate yourself from the average mindset. Because while everyone else is hitting snooze, you're building discipline. You're choosing growth over comfort. You're proving that you don't need to wait for motivation to move. You just move. That's real strength. You don't need to change your entire life in one day. You just need to start with one hard task each morning. One thing that stretches you. One thing that makes you uncomfortable. One thing that demands focus, commitment, and follow through. That's how you rewire your identity. Not by doing everything at once, but by consistently doing the things most people avoid. You know what your hard task is. It's the thing you keep delaying. The conversation you don't want to have. The project you pretend doesn't matter. The goal that scares you because it's big and uncertain. But those are the tasks that build you. That's where your discipline gets sharpened. You don't grow by doing easy things. You grow by doing the things you'd rather skip. And you do them first. Before the day steals your willpower. Before your mind talks you out of it. Before your comfort zone has a chance to trap you again. Mornings are about momentum. And momentum is built by action. Not by planning. Not by thinking. Not by waiting, by doing. When you start your day with something difficult, you build psychological armor. You send a message to your brain that says, I am not here to avoid life. I am here to master it. And that message carries you into everything else you face. Discipline is not about being perfect. It's about being honest with yourself. If you say you want change but you keep waking up late, what are you really telling yourself? If you say you want growth but you keep avoiding the hard work, how serious are you about that goal? The truth stings, but it's also what sets you free. You can't keep waiting to feel ready. The hard task is never going to feel convenient. That's why you do it first. That's why it's a discipline. Because it requires you to push past the part of you that wants to stay the same. That voice in your head. The one that says 5 more minutes or I'll do it later. That voice is not your friend. That's the voice of weakness. That's the voice of lost potential. That's the voice you need to silence every morning with action. You need a reason to wake up early. Not just a routine. A reason. Something that drives you. Something that reminds you that your time is valuable. That your life is short. That your potential is not something to be wasted. If you don't have a reason, you'll keep hitting snooze. You'll keep floating. You'll keep feeling stuck. Start with intention. Don't just get up. Rise with purpose. Don't just check your phone. Check in with yourself. Don't just rush into the day. Lead it. Lead it by choosing the hard path first. The path of discomfort. The path of growth. The path of effort. Because every time you choose that, you get stronger. There's no shortcut to a better life. But there is a process. Wake up early. Do one hard thing. Repeat. That's the foundation. And over time, it changes everything. How you think, how you feel, how you carry yourself. You become more confident. Not because life got easier, but because you got better. You built yourself. And when you start your day with discipline, it follows you. You walk different. You talk different. You think clearer. You don't get shaken by the first challenge that shows up. You've already done something difficult. You've already proven you're capable. That proof builds a mindset most people never touch. A mindset built on action. Not excuses. You've got to stop lying to yourself. Stop telling yourself that you'll change someday. Stop saying you'll wake up early when you're not tired. You're tired because you've been avoiding your own growth. You're tired because your life lacks structure. You're tired because you're not challenging yourself. Start doing hard things in the morning, and you'll see that tired feeling starts to disappear. It gets replaced with pride, with drive, with real inner strength. You don't need motivation. You need movement. You need to get up and earn your energy. You need to do what needs to be done before the sun comes up. That's the standard. That's how you build a different version of yourself. And that version doesn't rely on comfort. That version thrives under pressure. You're not just training your body when you wake up early. You're training your spirit. You're proving to yourself that your word means something, that you don't negotiate with laziness, that when you say you'll do something, you do it, no matter how you feel, no matter how tempting it is to stay soft. That's where real confidence comes from. Not from talk, from action. Most people spend their mornings rushing. They wake up already behind, already anxious, already lost in the noise. But you get to rise with intention. You get to wake up while the world is still quiet, while your mind is still open, and you use that space to create power. That's a gift. That's a choice. And every morning you make that choice, you gain something the average person will never know. Peace in the middle of chaos. Purpose in the middle of pressure. The truth is, discipline isn't something you're born with. It's something you build by making hard decisions again and again. And it always starts with the first hard decision of the day. Waking up when it's easier to sleep. Doing something difficult when it's easier to delay. Taking control when it's easier to coast. That first task, that's your test. That's your training ground. That's where you begin. The battle against procrastination, against doubt, against weakness. And the beauty is, you don't need to finish the day strong to feel like a winner. You just need to start it strong. You just need to take that first step with full commitment. Because when you win the morning, you set the tone for everything else. So choose a hard task. Make it meaningful. Don't pick something random. Pick something that stretches you. Something that makes you level up. It could be writing. It could be working out. It could be building a business, practicing a skill, fixing something you've ignored. But it must be something that makes you feel resistance. Because that resistance is where the growth is. And once you finish it, sit with that feeling of completion, of earned confidence, of inner alignment. That feeling is rare, and it doesn't come from ease. It comes from doing what others won't. And once you taste that, you won't want to go back. You won't crave comfort the same way. You'll crave results. You'll crave strength. You'll crave the version of yourself that shows up with fire, not fear. Every great achievement is built on a foundation of quiet, consistent effort. Nobody sees you waking up early. Nobody claps when you finish that hard task. But that's the beauty of it. That's what makes it powerful. It's not about proving anything to anyone else. It's about proving it to yourself. That you can be trusted. That you follow through. That you don't fold when life gets uncomfortable. That's where freedom comes from. From discipline. From structure. From honoring the promises you make to yourself when no one's watching. And it all starts with how you begin your day. Not someday. Not next week. Tomorrow morning. Set your alarm. Place your clothes out. Know exactly what your hard task will be. Remove every excuse before the sun comes up. And when that alarm rings, rise. Don't hesitate. Don't think. Move. That first movement will set the pace for everything else. It will remind you that you are not at the mercy of your emotions. You are the one in control. And when you do that again and again, day after day, you'll look back and realize you didn't just wake up early. You woke up to who you really are. You woke up to your strength. You woke up to your power. And it all started with one simple act, doing the hard thing first. Now it's your turn. Wake up early. Do the task you've been avoiding. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for the perfect time. You already have what it takes. Start now. Build your fire. And don't stop. Number 4, discipline your mind by doing what you avoid. If you keep avoiding the hard things, life will keep avoiding you with the rewards you say you want. That's the brutal truth. Every time you dodge discomfort, every time you look the other way from what you know needs to be done, you're reinforcing weakness. You're telling your mind that fear wins, that procrastination is allowed, that discipline is optional. And over time, that habit of avoidance becomes your identity. Not because you're lazy, but because you've trained your brain to believe that ease is safer than growth. And the longer you stay in that mental prison, the harder it becomes to break out. But here's what they don't tell you. Your freedom is buried underneath the things you run from. Your peace, your power, your confidence. It's all on the other side of the actions you keep postponing. You think avoiding them protects you, but all it's doing is keeping you small. You want to grow? You want to lead your life instead of following your fears? Then you need to start doing the exact things your mind resists. You need to stare directly at the tasks you've been dodging and do them anyway. Because that's how you discipline your mind, by refusing to be controlled by temporary emotions. There's a part of you right now that knows exactly what I'm talking about. That unfinished business you pretend doesn't matter anymore. That difficult conversation you've rehearsed in your head 1,000 times. That goal you wrote down 6 months ago and haven't touched since. That's the weight holding you back. Not because the task is impossible, but because you've built up a wall of excuses around it. You've convinced yourself it's okay to delay. And every time you repeat that lie, you reinforce the belief that growth is something you'll get to later. But later never comes. Only now exists. And if you don't act now, you're slowly teaching your mind that fear deserves respect. That's why discipline isn't about perfection. It's about confrontation. It's about standing in front of your fears and saying, you don't get to decide who I am anymore. You can read every book on self-improvement. You can watch every motivational video. You can listen to every podcast on mental toughness. But none of it will matter unless you actually do the thing you've been avoiding. That's the line in the sand. That's where you separate talkers from doers. That's where real strength is built. Not in theory, but in execution. You're not weak. You're just untrained. And the good news is, training begins the moment you stop running. The moment you stop trying to outthink discomfort and start confronting it head on. Because avoidance doesn't make things easier. It makes your mind weaker. The longer you put something off, the heavier it becomes. And that weight doesn't go away by waiting. It only disappears when you face it. Think about how many things you've avoided that ended up being less scary than you imagined. That conversation you finally had. That commitment you finally kept. That mess you finally cleaned up. You were scared before, but you felt proud after. That's the formula. That's how discipline rewires your brain. Through action, not overthinking. Your mind is like a muscle, and avoidance is the weight you refuse to lift. Every time you push through it, you get stronger. Every time you let it control you, you get weaker. There's no middle ground. You're either training resilience or training regret. And if you want to break that pattern, the pattern of avoiding, delaying, hesitating, then start with one thing, one task you've been running from. One action that makes you nervous. Not tomorrow. Today, don't wait until you feel brave. Courage doesn't come before action. It comes after. You act first. You feel powerful later. That's how confidence is built. That's how mental discipline is forged. You have to stop negotiating with your feelings. Your emotions will always try to talk you out of doing hard things. That's their job, to keep you comfortable. But comfort is not your goal. Growth is. Strength is, freedom is, and none of those things exist in the comfort zone. You can't build a strong mind in a soft environment. You have to deliberately seek out discomfort, not avoid it. That's the paradox. The more you chase the hard things, the easier life becomes. But the more you chase the easy things, the harder life hits back. Every time you avoid something, it owns you a little more. You lose a piece of your self-respect. You chip away at your belief in yourself. And eventually you look in the mirror and don't recognize the person staring back. Not because you've changed, but because you've stopped showing up. And that's what ruins people. Not failure, not rejection, but the slow decay of self-trust caused by repeated avoidance. So start now. Take back control. Choose the hard path. Not because it's fun, but because it frees you. Because on the other side of what you're avoiding is the life you've been begging for. And no one's coming to do it for you. No one's going to wake you up and hand you discipline. You have to choose it. You have to earn it. Every day. Through action. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're just one choice away from being back in control. But that choice has to happen now. You have to feel the resistance and do it anyway. That's the only way to stop being a prisoner of your own hesitation. That's the only way to become the person you're capable of being. Discipline isn't about getting it right every time. It's about refusing to surrender to weakness. It's about showing up for yourself, even when it's inconvenient. Especially when it's inconvenient. Because those moments are the ones that count. That's where you grow. That's where you build the identity of someone who doesn't flinch, doesn't fold, doesn't quit. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be honest. What have you been avoiding? Write it down. Say it out loud. Look at it. Don't hide from it anymore. and then attack it. Not next week, not later today. Right now. Send the email, make the call, start the project, clean up the mess. Do the thing that's been whispering to you every night when your head hits the pillow, reminding you that you're not doing what you know you should. That whisper gets louder over time. It turns into anxiety, into frustration, into shame. Not because you're failing, but because you're avoiding. And that's what eats away at people. That's what keeps them stuck. But you don't have to stay stuck. You can take control, one action at a time. Your future is built in moments like this. Moments where you could avoid, but you don't. Moments where you could delay, but you don't. Moments where you could rationalize, but you don't. You act, you step forward, you move. And in doing so, you build something that most people never will. Self-respect. You start to see yourself differently. Not as someone who's constantly behind, constantly trying to get their life together, but as someone who acts with courage. Someone who makes decisions based on values, not emotions. Someone who leads, not just survives. You want discipline? Then prove it. Do the things you've been avoiding. Do them tired. Do them scared. Do them uncertain. That's the only way to break the chains that avoidance has wrapped around your mind. And the more you do it, the easier it gets. Not because the task gets easier, but because you get stronger. One day you'll look back and realize the only thing standing between you and your potential was avoidance. And once you started facing those tasks head on, everything changed. Your confidence grew. Your focus sharpened. Your energy returned. Because avoidance drains energy, but action gives it back. Right now is your opportunity. Not later. Not when it's more convenient. Not when you feel ready. Now that moment of resistance you're feeling, that's your cue. That's the gateway. That's the door you need to walk through. Every time you do, you claim a little more of your power. And if you do it consistently, day after day, you won't need motivation. You'll have identity. You'll wake up knowing exactly who you are. Someone who shows up. Someone who faces what others avoid. Someone who disciplines their mind by choosing growth over comfort. And that kind of person becomes unstoppable. So start today. Choose one thing, just one, and finish it. Even if it's uncomfortable, even if it takes effort, especially if it does. That's how you turn avoidance into strength. That's how you build discipline that lasts. Not by reading about it, not by waiting, but by doing what you've been avoiding, starting now. Number 5, stick to your plan even when you feel weak. If you only show up when you feel strong, you'll never become the kind of person who can survive when everything feels like it's falling apart. This is the moment most people quit. Not when things are impossible, but when they feel exhausted, uninspired, and emotionally drained. This is where plans get abandoned, dreams are left to die, and people settle for a version of life they never wanted. Not because they weren't capable, but because they allowed a moment of weakness to define their future. And you've been there, haven't you? You've made a plan, a solid one. You had the energy, the fire, the motivation to go all in. But then the day came when it didn't feel as exciting. You were tired, life was loud, doubt crept in. And just like that, you let go of what mattered most to you. That's what separates those who win from those who wait. Winners don't stick to the plan only when it's easy. They stick to the plan especially when it's hard, because they know that following through when you're weak is where your character is built. It's not about pushing only when you're inspired. It's about grinding when there's nothing pushing you but your own inner standard. Let me ask you this. How badly do you want to change? Not in theory, but in practice. When your mind is foggy, when your body is drained, when you feel like you're crawling through the day with nothing left in the tank, that's when it matters most. Anyone can perform when the sun is out and energy is high. But who are you when it's dark? Who are you when you're doubting yourself? Who are you when you're silently questioning if it's even worth it anymore? That's the real test. That's where most people bow out. But you're not most people. You wouldn't be here if you were. You're listening because something in you refuses to give up. There's a voice buried deep inside that says, I don't care how tired I am. I don't care how discouraged I feel. I have a plan, and I'm going to honor it. That voice, that's the one you need to feed. That's the part of you that's ready to rise. But it only gets stronger when you act in spite of weakness. Not because you feel great, but because you promised yourself that you would. Weakness doesn't mean you've failed. Feeling low doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're human. But discipline is what separates humans who lead from humans who wait. Discipline isn't sexy. It's not glamorous. It's not fun. It's doing the same work you promised you'd do, even when your heart isn't in it, even when your limbs feel heavy, even when your thoughts are loud and unhelpful. It's waking up tired and saying, today's not going to be perfect, but it will be done. Most people wait for motivation to return. That's a mistake. Motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes with your mood. But a plan, a real well-built plan, is what keeps you anchored when everything else is in chaos. And if you abandon that plan every time you feel low, then what you've really done is made emotion your master. That's a dangerous game to play, because emotions are unpredictable. But your plan is your blueprint. It's your compass, and it doesn't care how you feel. It just waits for you to follow it. You ever notice how good it feels to complete something when you didn't feel like doing it? That sense of pride that shows up, not because it was fun, but because it was hard, and you still did it. That's what builds confidence. Not words, not goals, not dreams. Execution. Repeated execution, especially when it's uncomfortable. Look, life's not always going to be in your favor. You'll have days where you're heartbroken, days where your energy is gone, days where your mind betrays you with self-doubt. But your plan doesn't care about your feelings. It's your job to honor it anyway. Not because it's easy, not because it's convenient, but because it's yours. And if you keep walking away from what you said you would do, you'll keep walking further away from the person you want to become. Some days, all you've got is one step. That's okay. Take it. You don't need to be heroic. You just need to be consistent. You just need to keep going. Even if it's slower, even if it's messy, even if it doesn't feel like progress. Because what you're doing isn't just moving forward. You're showing your mind that you can be trusted. That's what most people don't realize. Every time you follow through, even when you feel weak, you're reinforcing trust in yourself. You're proving that you can depend on your own word. And that's how self-respect is built. Not in grand gestures, but in daily commitment. Do you know how many people are stuck? Not because they lack potential, but because they keep restarting every time life punches them in the face. You're not stuck. You're just at a point where weakness is louder than discipline. That's when you dig in. That's when you breathe, regroup, and move forward. Because your plan is your commitment to your future. And if you can't hold the line when it's hard, you'll never last long enough to see the reward. You think successful people don't feel weak? Of course they do. But they've trained themselves to act anyway. They've learned how to put emotion aside and stick to the process. They don't make excuses. They make progress. Slowly, steadily, day by day. No drama, no negotiation, just work. The question isn't whether you'll feel weak. The question is whether you'll follow through anyway. You've got more strength than you give yourself credit for. You've survived more than you realize. And now it's time to prove to yourself that weakness doesn't mean surrender. Weakness is just a signal, not a command. It's your opportunity to stand tall when it would be easier to sit down. That's how warriors are made. Not when they feel like giants, but when they act with courage despite the weight pulling them down. You want to change your life? Start by doing what you said you'd do, even on your worst days, especially on your worst days. That's the real work. That's the difference maker. That's what turns someone with a plan into someone with results. You've come too far to start doubting yourself now. Look at how many battles you've already won. Look at how many times you wanted to quit and didn't. That wasn't luck. That was you. That was the fighter in you that refuses to stay down. That same fire is still inside you. You just need to use it now. Not tomorrow. Not later. Now. Because if you stick to your plan when you're weak, you won't be weak for long. Every action taken during adversity becomes armor for the future. Every task completed during fatigue becomes fuel for confidence. You won't always feel like it. That's the truth. But if you only act when it's easy, you'll never finish anything that's meaningful. And deep down, you know that. So make the choice today, not to be perfect, but to be dependable. Not to feel great, but to show up anyway. That's what will set you apart. That's what will build the life you want. Show up when no one's watching. Execute even when no one's clapping. Stick to the plan even when you'd rather crawl back into bed. Because that's when it counts most. And when you look back years from now, you'll see it clearly. You'll see that every breakthrough you had, every victory, every transformation, didn't come during your best days. They came during your hardest ones, when everything in you wanted to stop, but you kept going anyway. That's your power. That's your edge. Don't give it away just because you're having a rough day. You're stronger than you feel right now. You're more capable than you think. And your future is waiting, not for the perfect version of you, but for the version that refuses to quit. So take a deep breath. Get back up. Stick to the plan. One step at a time. You've got this. And if this hits you deep, if something in your chest is saying, this is what I needed to hear, then take it seriously. Let this be the turning point. The moment you stop breaking promises to yourself. The moment you took control back. Because this isn't just about one hard day. It's about who you become because of it. Keep showing up. Keep fighting. Keep building the life you said you wanted. No matter how weak you feel, stick to the plan. Number 6. Say no to comfort and choose progress instead. You will never become who you want to be by staying in the comfort of where you are. The comfort zone is a liar. It whispers to you in a soft, soothing voice, convincing you that everything will be fine if you just stay put. It tells you that you deserve rest, that you've worked hard enough, and that pushing forward is overrated. But here's the truth. Comfort will never make you great. Comfort will never lead you to the life you dream of. It will never make you stronger, wiser, or more capable. It will only keep you stuck, stagnant, and feeling like you're in a cycle you can't break. If you're listening to this, it's because a part of you is ready to break free. There's a fire inside you that refuses to be dimmed by the lull of comfort. You know that where you are right now is not where you belong. And the only thing standing in your way is the seductive pull of the easy path. The path that says, you've had a long day, take a break. The path that says, you can start tomorrow, this can wait. The path that says, why not just relax and enjoy life for once? But here's the harsh reality. Progress doesn't wait for you to feel ready. It doesn't give you second chances. It doesn't pause until you're comfortable. Real growth only happens when you say no to comfort and choose discomfort instead. When you decide that the pain of pushing yourself forward is worth it. Because the truth is, growth feels uncomfortable. Progress feels uncomfortable. Reaching for your dreams, uncomfortable. But it's the discomfort of today that creates the success of tomorrow. You've probably heard people say, don't worry, everything will happen in its own time, or you'll get there when it's meant to be. These comforting phrases are dangerous because they let you off the hook. They make you feel like you're not in control of your destiny. And that's a lie. You are in control. Every single choice you make shapes the person you'll become. And the hardest choices are the ones that will get you the furthest. Saying no to comfort is one of the hardest choices you'll ever make. But it's also the most rewarding. Think about your life for a moment. Think about where you are right now. How many of your dreams have been put on pause because it was easier to stay where you are? How many moments have slipped away because you chose the comfort of the couch, the easy food, the momentary pleasure over what you truly want to achieve? We all do it. We all find reasons to stay comfortable. But if you're ever going to break through, you have to choose progress over comfort. You have to make the decision to move forward, even when everything in you screams to stay still. When you choose comfort, you're choosing the known. You're choosing what's familiar, what's safe. It's predictable. It doesn't push you, but growth doesn't come from what's predictable. It comes from the unknown, the uncertain, the risky. When you choose progress, you step into uncharted territory. You force yourself to face fears, doubts, and discomfort. You challenge everything that's easy and comfortable. You put your willpower to the test and stretch your limits. And when you do that, you will be amazed at the person you become. Here's the catch. The world is full of people who are comfortable. They're living their lives on autopilot, waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for the stars to align. They're waiting for life to give them permission to succeed. But success doesn't come to those who wait. Success comes to those who act, even when it's uncomfortable, even when they're tired, even when they don't feel like it. Progress only comes to those who choose the hard path, the path that challenges them, that pushes them to their limits, the path that says, this is hard, but I'm going to do it anyway. Every time you choose comfort over progress, you're making a choice to delay your success. You're putting off the life you really want, all because it feels easier to do nothing. But doing nothing never gets you closer to your dreams. It only makes you more frustrated, more restless, and more dissatisfied with the life you're living. The truth is, your comfort zone is the enemy of everything you want to become. And if you stay there, you'll never discover just how much you're truly capable of. So what happens when you choose progress? The magic happens. The growth happens. Every time you push past the easy route, you build a new level of strength and resilience. You teach yourself that you're capable of more than you think. You prove to yourself that you can endure discomfort and still move forward. And with each step, you gain momentum. Momentum that will carry you to places you never thought possible. You start to see the results of your hard work. You start to feel the satisfaction of knowing that you didn't give up when it was easy to. There's a reason the most successful people don't live like everyone else. They don't take the easy path. They're not looking for shortcuts. They're looking for the next challenge. They're seeking discomfort because they know that it's the only way to grow. They understand that to be exceptional, they have to push past the limits of what's comfortable and enter the realm of the uncomfortable. That's where the magic is. And that's where you need to go. The truth is, choosing progress over comfort is a mindset. It's about refusing to let fear and doubt control your decisions. It's about making the conscious choice to act in the face of discomfort. Every time you choose progress, you build mental toughness. You train your mind to overcome obstacles, to stay focused, and to push through when things get hard. And the more you do it, the easier it gets. The more you choose discomfort, the more it becomes second nature. It becomes who you are. But it's not just about working hard or doing more. It's about having the courage to do the things that scare you. It's about taking risks. It's about stepping into the unknown with faith in yourself and the process. Because every time you choose to step out of your comfort zone, you're telling the universe that you trust yourself. You're telling it that you believe you are capable of more than you realize. And the universe responds. It opens doors. It presents opportunities. And it pushes you forward in ways you never expected. So the next time you feel the urge to take the easy way out, to settle for what's comfortable, remember this: comfort doesn't lead to greatness. Comfort doesn't lead to progress. Progress requires sacrifice, discomfort, and relentless action. It requires you to push yourself beyond your limits. But that's where the rewards are. That's where your dreams lie. On the other side of discomfort, and you're capable of crossing that line. The real question is, how badly do you want to change? How badly do you want to grow? If you want it badly enough, you'll say no to comfort every time. You'll choose progress. You'll choose growth. And in doing so, you'll unlock a life beyond anything you've ever imagined. Now take a moment to reflect. What comfort are you holding on to that's keeping you from your greatness? What's the easy path you're tempted to take that's holding you back? It's time to let it go. It's time to embrace discomfort and step into the life you deserve. Because on the other side of comfort, that's where your true potential lies. And it's time to claim it. So choose progress, choose growth, choose discomfort, and let's get started. Number 7, take full control of how you use your time. Time is the one thing you will never get back. And how you use it today will determine who you are tomorrow. Let me ask you a question. How are you spending your time right now? Are you using every minute as an investment in your future? Or are you letting time slip through your fingers like sand? Most people waste time without realizing it. We get distracted by small tasks, lost in endless scrolling, or caught in conversations that don't move us forward. But here's the harsh truth. Time doesn't wait for anyone. It doesn't pause for you to catch up. And it doesn't slow down to make room for your mistakes. Every second that ticks away is a second you can never get back. So why does it feel like we're always running out of time? Why do we often feel like there's never enough of it? The truth is, it's because we're not taking full control of how we use it. Time is a gift, but it's also a responsibility. How you use it defines your life. If you want to live a life of purpose, success, and fulfillment, you have to master how you use your time. And I mean truly master it. Not just fill it with tasks, but prioritize what matters most. Think about your day for a moment. How much time do you spend mindlessly scrolling through social media? How much time do you waste by not making decisions quickly enough? or procrastinating on the important things. The problem isn't that there isn't enough time. The problem is that we give away our time to things that don't matter, to distractions, to the easy things that don't require real effort. And when we do that, we feel like time is running out, when really we've just been wasting it all along. I know what you're thinking, but I'm busy. I have so many things to do. We all feel that way, don't we? But being busy doesn't equal being productive. Just because your schedule is full doesn't mean you're accomplishing what matters. Too many of us get caught up in the hustle, filling our time with things that don't move the needle in our lives. But what if I told you that it's not about doing more? It's about doing what truly matters and eliminating what drains you. What if I told you that the secret to success isn't working harder, it's working smarter, by taking control of your time and using it for the things that will propel you forward? Imagine waking up every single day with a sense of purpose, knowing exactly how you're going to spend your time. Imagine taking full control of every moment, not letting distractions, procrastination, or the noise of the world dictate how you spend your days. That's the power of taking control of your time. And it's something you can start doing right now, today. Let's face it, we live in a world of endless distractions. Social media, emails, notifications, TV shows, and more. These things pull our attention in a million different directions. They make us feel like we're always in motion, but in reality, we're often just spinning our wheels. The first step to taking control of your time is learning how to filter out the noise. You need to stop giving your energy to everything that doesn't align with your goals. Stop letting other people's agendas take precedence over your own. When you take control of your time, you take control of your life. And when you take control of your life, everything changes. One of the biggest challenges most people face is not knowing where to start. They look at their lives, at the things they want to achieve, and they feel overwhelmed. There's just so much to do, so many things pulling them in different directions. But the key is to simplify. Focus on what matters most. If you want to change your life, you can't afford to spread yourself thin. You need to be ruthless with your time. Prioritize the activities, people, and projects that align with your values and your vision. Stop wasting time on things that don't contribute to your growth. When you take control of your time, you start to realize that the only thing holding you back is your own decisions. The choices you make every single day are what determine the outcome of your life. If you're spending your time on things that drain you, you're telling yourself that your goals don't matter. You're telling yourself that distractions are more important than your dreams. And that's a dangerous place to be. Now, let me be clear. This isn't about being rigid or obsessive. It's about intentionality. It's about making every moment count. Time is a resource that's both finite and precious. You get to decide how you spend it. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't serve your purpose, you're saying no to the things that will move you forward. And every time you say no to something that doesn't matter, you're making room for what does. Think about the people you admire most, the ones who have built successful businesses, achieved their dreams, and made an impact in the world. What do they all have in common? They've mastered their time. They don't waste a single moment on distractions. They understand that every hour counts. They know that time is the one thing you can't buy back, and they use it with intention and purpose. You can do the same. But first, you need to decide that your time is valuable. And once you make that decision, you'll start to treat it differently. To take full control of your time, you need to establish boundaries. This means saying no to things that don't align with your vision. This means blocking out time for deep work, for reflection, for rest, and sticking to it. This means eliminating the things that distract you and drain your energy. Time is like money. It's an asset, and you need to manage it wisely. Stop treating your time as something that's endlessly available. Start treating it like the precious resource it is. Another powerful tool in mastering your time is planning. You've probably heard that if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Well, it's true. Without a plan, your time will slip away without you even realizing it. But when you take control of your schedule and make intentional decisions about how you spend each day, you take the power back. Planning gives you direction. It allows you to prioritize what's important and eliminate the unnecessary. This doesn't mean you have to schedule every second of your day, but it does mean you need to create a structure that works for you. Set aside time each day to focus on your top priorities. Be intentional with your work time, your rest time, your family time, and your personal time. The more you plan, the more control you'll have over your time. And the more control you have, the more empowered you'll feel. Let me share a simple but effective way to start taking control of your time today. Time blocking. Time blocking is a strategy that allows you to assign specific time slots to specific tasks. It forces you to be intentional about what you do with your time. You're not just jumping from one task to another based on what feels urgent. Instead, you're dedicating time to what truly matters. The key is to be disciplined. Don't let other things bleed into the time you've set aside for your important tasks. Protect your time like it's your most valuable asset, because it is. Taking full control of your time isn't just about working harder, it's about working smarter. It's about recognizing that you're the only one who can decide how you use your time. Stop letting other people control it for you. Stop letting distractions, habits, and mindless routines take over. You have the power to choose how you spend every minute of your day. When you take full control of your time, you're not just changing your schedule, you're changing your life. If you want to start today, take a moment and ask yourself, what's one thing I can do right now to take control of my time? Maybe it's setting boundaries with people. Maybe it's creating a plan for tomorrow. Maybe it's eliminating a distraction that's been eating away at your precious time. Whatever it is, take that step today. Start small, but start now. Your future self will thank you for it, and before you know it, you'll have mastered the art of time management, and your life will never be the same. Number 8, push through laziness until discipline feels natural. There's a voice inside of you that tries to convince you to stay comfortable. It says, just relax, take it easy, you've worked hard enough. And in that moment, it feels good to listen, right? It feels easy, it feels safe. But let me tell you something. Comfort is your enemy. Laziness is a trap. And if you keep listening to that voice, it will control your life. What I'm about to say might sting a little. You will never become the person you're meant to be if you keep letting laziness dictate your actions. Every time you choose comfort over effort, every time you put off what you know you should be doing, you're reinforcing the habit of laziness. And it doesn't matter how hard you try to convince yourself otherwise. This pattern will hold you back from your true potential. Here's the truth. If you want to achieve greatness, if you want to live a life that matters, you have to push through the resistance. You have to fight against laziness, push past the desire to procrastinate, and take action even when you don't feel like it. The reality is this: discipline is a muscle. It's not something you're born with, and it's not something that comes easily. But the more you work it, the stronger it gets. The more you push through the laziness, the more natural discipline becomes. Right now you might be thinking, that sounds great, but it's so hard. Some days I just don't have the energy. Some days I just want to give up. I hear you. I really do. I know what it's like to feel stuck in a cycle of procrastination and lethargy. There are days when it seems impossible to find the motivation to get moving. But what I want you to understand is that those moments of struggle are the key to your transformation. Every time you push through laziness, you're building the discipline that will carry you to your goals. You're teaching your mind and body that you are in control, not the comfort or the excuses. You're creating a new habit. And once discipline becomes a habit, it becomes natural. It becomes automatic. You won't have to think twice about getting up and doing the work. It won't feel like a battle anymore, because you'll have trained your mind to choose effort over ease. So how do you push through laziness, especially when it feels so strong, so convincing? The first step is understanding that discipline is a choice. It's not something that happens by accident. You have to choose it over and over again, even when it feels difficult, even when you don't feel like it. Every time you choose discipline, you strengthen it. Every time you push past that feeling of laziness, you reinforce your willpower. And every time you act in spite of the resistance, you get closer to the person you're meant to be. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine a runner who's training for a marathon. Every day they feel the urge to skip their workout. They're tired, they're sore, and the bed feels so inviting. But they don't listen to those thoughts. They get up, put on their shoes and go for the run anyway. The first few times, it's tough. They feel like quitting, but they don't. And with every step, with every push past the urge to stop, they get stronger. Over time, running becomes easier. Their muscles adapt, their mind adapts, and the challenge that once felt impossible now feels natural. This is how discipline works. It starts with resistance, but if you keep pushing, it becomes part of who you are. At first, it's uncomfortable. It feels forced. You may have to drag yourself out of bed, make yourself sit down to work, or force yourself to stop procrastinating. But with time, it becomes second nature. Discipline stops feeling like an effort, and it starts feeling like a part of your identity. You won't have to force yourself anymore because your habits will align with your goals. You might be wondering, but how do I get started? How do I break this cycle of laziness? The key is small, consistent actions. Don't expect to change overnight. Don't try to go from 0 to 100 all at once. Start small. Start with a single task, one that you know you've been avoiding. Commit to doing it for just 10 minutes, even if you don't feel like it. The act of starting is the hardest part. Once you begin, you'll often find that the resistance starts to fade away. The longer you push through, the easier it gets. Another important step in this process is understanding the power of momentum. When you push through laziness once, it gets easier to do it again. It's like rolling a snowball down a hill. At first it's small, but as it gains momentum, it gets bigger and faster. Similarly, once you make the decision to act, the next decision becomes easier. You start to realize that the feeling of laziness doesn't have to control you. You can choose to push through it. One powerful tool in this process is setting clear, specific goals. When you know exactly what you want to achieve, it becomes easier to commit to the discipline necessary to reach it. Having a clear vision of your end goal helps you stay focused. It gives you a reason to push through the hard moments. Without a clear goal, it's easy to get distracted and let laziness win. But when you have a powerful why behind your actions, it makes every step forward worth it. Discipline is also about accountability. It's about keeping promises to yourself. When you let laziness win, you break the promises you've made to yourself, and that weakens your self-discipline. But every time you follow through on your commitments, you build trust with yourself. You reinforce your self-respect and integrity. The more you honor your commitments, the stronger your discipline becomes. And the stronger your discipline becomes, the more natural it feels to act, even when you don't feel like it. The truth is, discipline doesn't come naturally to most people. It's not something that just happens. It's something you build, one choice at a time. And it starts with pushing through the laziness, even when it feels uncomfortable. You have to be willing to fight against the urge to do nothing, to push through the resistance, and to take action no matter what. This is the path to mastery, to greatness, to success. Now here's something that might surprise you. Discipline doesn't mean you have to be perfect. It doesn't mean you won't have days where you struggle. It doesn't mean you won't have moments where laziness tries to pull you back. But it does mean that you don't let those moments define you. It means that you get back up, you try again, and you keep pushing through. The more you do that, the more discipline becomes a part of you. I want to leave you with this. Discipline isn't about being rigid or overly strict. It's about choosing your future over your comfort. It's about pushing through the discomfort now, so you can have the life you've always dreamed of. Push through the laziness, push through the resistance, and keep going. Because the more you do, the stronger you become. And eventually, discipline will feel like second nature. Are you ready to start? Are you ready to take control of your life and push through the resistance? Every step you take today is one step closer to making discipline your new normal. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Act now and push through. Your future self will thank you. Number 9. Hold yourself accountable when no one else does. You are the one person in this world who has the power to either build yourself up or break yourself down. No one else can hold you accountable the way you can. The truth is, when no one else is watching, when there's no one around to push you, that's when your true character is revealed. It's easy to do the right thing when people are watching, But can you hold yourself to that same standard when the spotlight is off you? No one else is coming to save you. No one is coming to tell you to get up and go to work. No one is going to remind you of your goals every single day. That responsibility falls solely on you, and it's in those quiet moments when the world is silent that you have to make a choice. Will you be the person who pushes through, or will you be the person who waits for someone else to take the lead? Most people rely on external motivation. They look for someone else to hold them accountable. They need a boss, a partner, a friend to keep them on track. But that's a weakness. It's a crutch. Real growth doesn't come from depending on others. It comes from within. Real success is about holding yourself accountable when no one else does. It's about doing what you said you would do, even when no one is looking. And it's about pushing forward, even when it feels like no one cares whether you succeed or not. In this world, no one owes you anything. No one is responsible for your success or your failures, except for you. It's easy to look around and blame circumstances, blame the lack of opportunities, blame the people around you, but that's not going to get you anywhere. The only thing that will truly get you to where you want to be is the ability to look yourself in the mirror every day and ask, did I do what I said I would do today? Did I hold myself accountable for my actions, my choices, and my progress? When you are the only one who can hold you accountable, everything changes. The world may not care if you hit your goals, but you do. No one is going to remind you to show up every single day. That's on you. You must develop the discipline to make decisions for your future self, to do what's necessary when the only person watching is you. There are no shortcuts to success. There's no magic formula. But there is one thing that separates the winners from the losers: personal accountability. When you hold yourself accountable, you are in control. You are the one who chooses to keep moving, even when it's tough. You are the one who decides to get up when you'd rather stay down. You are the one who faces the consequences of your actions, and you are the one who reaps the rewards of your commitment. It's easy to make excuses. It's easy to say, I'll start tomorrow, or I didn't have time. But that's just your mind trying to protect you from the discomfort of doing what needs to be done. Success requires discomfort. Growth requires discipline. The moment you stop making excuses is the moment you start becoming the person you were meant to be. Do you know why so many people never reach their full potential? It's because they never hold themselves accountable. They wait for someone else to motivate them. They wait for a spark of inspiration, for a burst of energy, or for the perfect time to start. But the perfect time is now, and the spark of motivation, that comes from within you, not from anyone else. Let's be real for a moment. You know exactly what you need to do. You know what's holding you back, what's standing in your way. The only thing that's missing is your willingness to take ownership. You must hold yourself accountable, day in and day out, even when the day feels too hard, even when the distractions are calling your name. You have to choose to stay focused. When you can look yourself in the eye and say, I did what I said I would do, that's when everything changes. Accountability is not a one-time thing. It's a daily practice. Every single day, you make choices that either bring you closer to your goals or push you farther away. And every single day, you must hold yourself accountable for those choices. Success isn't about making perfect decisions all the time. It's about making the right decisions most of the time. It's about showing up even when you don't feel like it. It's about pushing through the doubt, the laziness, and the fear of failure. It's about making the commitment to yourself and sticking to it no matter what. Think about the most successful people in the world. They don't rely on other people to hold them accountable. They don't wait for external motivation to drive them. They are self-driven, self-disciplined, and self-reliant. They wake up every single day with a sense of purpose, and they hold themselves to the highest standard. They make sure they do what needs to be done, even when the world is silent, even when no one else is watching. This is what you need to understand. Your success is not dependent on anyone else's approval or motivation. It's about what you're willing to do for yourself. When you start holding yourself accountable, everything changes. The excuses disappear. The distractions lose their power. And suddenly, you have the power to achieve whatever you set your mind to. But here's the catch. Holding yourself accountable isn't always easy. It requires honesty with yourself. It means facing the uncomfortable truth that sometimes you're the one standing in your own way. But that's also the beauty of it. When you realize that the power to succeed lies entirely in your hands, You stop waiting for others to push you, and you start pushing yourself. Every time you take full responsibility for your actions, you become stronger. Every time you make a promise to yourself and keep it, you reinforce your self-discipline. And every time you follow through, you build trust with yourself. This trust is what will propel you forward when the going gets tough. When you know that you can rely on yourself, when you know that you will follow through, no matter what, nothing can stop you. There's a secret to success, and it's simple. Do what you said you would do, even when no one else is around to notice. The reason most people fail is that they rely on external validation. They need someone else to hold them accountable. But that's not how greatness works. Greatness comes from within. Greatness comes from holding yourself accountable when no one else does. It comes from taking action, from doing the work, and from making progress every single day, even when it feels like no one else cares. It's time to take full ownership of your life. Stop waiting for someone to tell you what to do. Stop waiting for the perfect conditions to get started. The time is now. The power is in your hands. And the only thing standing between you and the life you want is your ability to hold yourself accountable. Are you ready to step up? Are you ready to make that commitment to yourself and follow through? Because when you do, everything changes. Hold yourself accountable. Take full responsibility for your actions and let your success be the evidence of your commitment. The world will notice, but more importantly, you will notice. And that's what truly matters. Number 10. Repeat your discipline routine until it feels normal. If you want to transform your life, it starts with one simple thing: consistency. Discipline isn't something you do once or twice and then expect miracles to happen. It's a muscle, and like any muscle, it gets stronger the more you use it. But here's the truth. Most people won't tell you the real power lies in repetition. The moment you repeat your discipline routine until it feels normal, you've cracked the code to sustained success. I know what you're thinking. Discipline, isn't that for the people who are naturally driven? Aren't they the ones who can wake up at 5 a.m., work non-stop, and never lose focus? No, that's a myth. Discipline isn't some rare trait. It's a choice that you make every single day. And it becomes easier, not because you're naturally gifted, but because you've repeated it enough times to make it part of your DNA. The first time you try something new, it's uncomfortable. It feels awkward. You struggle to stay on track. But that's the key to everything. That discomfort is your signal that you're growing. The more you push through that discomfort, the closer you get to making your discipline routine a part of who you are. Most people abandon their goals because they want immediate results. They don't realize that true transformation takes time. It's not about the quick wins. It's about showing up every single day, doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. And that's where the real power lies. Repetition. It's in the daily grind. It's in doing the same thing over and over until it becomes second nature. Think about brushing your teeth. At first you had to think about it, right? You had to consciously remind yourself to do it. But now, it's just automatic. You don't even have to think about it. You do it because it's ingrained in you. Your discipline routine can be the same way. The more you repeat the actions, the less effort it takes, and soon enough, it will feel like the most natural thing in the world. Here's the thing about discipline. It's not about pushing yourself to the limit every single day. It's about doing the simple things over and over with unwavering commitment. The daily routines, the habits you build, those are the things that make the biggest impact. But you have to stick with them long enough for them to click. This is where most people fail. They try something new for a few days, maybe even a week, and then they fall off. They tell themselves they just aren't motivated anymore. But that's not the problem. The real problem is that they stopped before the routine became automatic. They stopped just when they were on the verge of it becoming natural. Let's face it, in the beginning, it's easy to quit. It's easy to say, I'll try again tomorrow, or this isn't working. But when you stick with it, when you repeat the actions, even when it feels like nothing is happening, that's when the magic starts to happen. The change is subtle at first, almost imperceptible. But slowly over time, your brain begins to rewire itself. The habits you're working to build begin to feel less like a struggle and more like part of your routine. The process is like training a dog. At first, the dog doesn't understand the commands. It might sit or stay for a second, but then forgets the next moment. You're constantly reminding the dog, guiding it, giving it little cues. But after repetition, after consistency, the dog learns it doesn't need constant reminders anymore. It knows what to do. That's exactly how your discipline works. In the beginning, it requires constant focus, but with each day you repeat the actions. Your brain gets better at it. Eventually it becomes second nature. You see, consistency isn't about doing it all perfectly. It's about showing up every single day, no matter how small the steps. You don't need huge leaps to make progress. It's the little steps that add up. Think of a snowball rolling down a hill. It starts small, but the more it rolls, the bigger it gets. Your discipline routine works the same way. Every small action, every repeated effort adds to the momentum. And here's something that will change the way you see discipline forever. Discipline isn't about being rigid or forcing yourself to do things you hate. It's about creating a lifestyle. When you find the right routines, the right habits, the right rituals, discipline becomes something that serves you, not something that drags you. It becomes a tool that makes your life easier, more productive, and more fulfilling. Imagine waking up each day with a clear sense of purpose. Your mind isn't cluttered with distractions or indecision. You know exactly what you need to do, and when you need to do it. Your discipline routine becomes the foundation of your success. It's not about forcing yourself to work harder. It's about making your habits and routines work for you. But here's where you need to get real with yourself. Repetition doesn't mean mindlessly going through the motions. It means showing up with intention every day. It's about refining your routine over time. You'll need to adjust. You'll need to make tweaks. And sometimes you'll need to push through resistance. But as you do, as you continue to repeat, you'll notice that what once felt like a chore becomes something you look forward to. This isn't just about doing the same thing over and over. It's about doing the right things. It's about creating habits that align with your goals, your values, and your vision for the future. And yes, it will feel awkward at first. It will feel like a grind. But as the days go on, you'll notice something incredible happening. You won't have to force yourself anymore. It'll just flow. When discipline feels normal, it's no longer something you have to think about. It's no longer a burden. It's your way of life. It's how you show up. It's how you succeed. The discipline isn't something you do. It's something you are. It's who you've become through repetition, through persistence, and through your unwavering commitment to becoming the best version of yourself. But this process isn't always glamorous. It's not always motivating. Sometimes it's tedious. Sometimes it's frustrating. But that's the truth of transformation. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens when you repeat the right actions, day after day, until you've built a system that works for you, until it becomes automatic, until it becomes your second nature. And when that happens, nothing can stop you. Now, if you want to experience this transformation, you have to get started. You have to show up every day. You have to commit to the process of repetition, knowing that in time, your routine will shift from something you have to do to something you want to do. Your discipline will no longer feel forced. It will feel like breathing. It will be a part of you. And once it becomes a part of you, there's nothing that can stop you. So the question is, are you ready to make discipline your second nature? Are you ready to commit to the process of repetition, no matter how tough it gets? Because the truth is, when you make discipline feel normal, everything in your life changes. You stop battling yourself every day, and you start winning. The power is in your hands. It's time to start repeating, until discipline becomes as natural as breathing.